So I'm on the 90 bus heading east to resume my protest against Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse and other things, cover up and denial of clergy abuse, and the driver has a song Danger Zone on, which I think is kind of cute. So we'll see if it's a danger zone today, but with any luck everything will be quite peaceful, and won't have to worry about any unnecessary police interventions or threats or assaults on me by Montreal Unitarians and other forms of danger. I just thought it was a cute little coincidence that this song was being played. So, signaling my stop, and we'll be getting off soon. I might as well just keep this thing running, I think. That's the church right there. Been a while since I've been able to be in this danger zone, as it were, because it has been dangerous at times in various ways. I have been physically assaulted on several occasions. I've had threats made against me. I've even had one person attending the church ask me if he should go home and get his gun. So let's see what happens. We're going to set up our picket signs, and this stop, I guess they moved it back a bit because it used to be a little closer, sort of directly opposite the church, but for whatever reason they moved it back a little. I got a jogger in the bike lane. But yeah, this is my first time being able to protest in front of the Unitarian Church in Montreal since, well, a couple of years ago. Oh, Black Lives Matter. That's interesting, because apparently the lives of Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse victims don't matter at all, regardless of their skin color. So yes, the Unitarian Church in Montreal is displaying this Black Lives Matter sign. And I have no problem with anyone displaying a Black Lives Matter sign. I agree very much with the sentiment. The problem is that Montreal Unitarians are outrageous hypocrites, and Unitarian Universalists more generally are outrageous hypocrites. I've seen clear online evidence of at least 2 people of color, I do believe black people, complaining about racism that they experienced right here at the Unitarian Church in Montreal, right in this Unitarian church that has a Black Lives Matter sign in front of it. I know of at least 2 black people who have complained about essentially being shunned and even harassed and discriminated against, like actively discriminated against by Montreal Unitarians. So again, just shows the hypocrisy of this church. Let's see what we have over here. Probably something. Oh, it's another. Okay, so it's French translation of Black Lives Matter. La vie des noirs compte. So today's sermon, I believe the title of today's sermon is, let's see here, Liberating Our Theological Imagination. And it's about justice. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to come today. I actually did have other plans. I actually had a possible sort of family reunion type thing later today. And there was also a photo flea market that I could have attended. But plans more or less fell through on both of those things. And when I saw that the sermon was about justice, I said, no, we cannot let this go without saying a thing or two, because Montreal Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists more generally have gone to extreme and foolish lengths to pervert justice. One of the ways in which Unitarian Universalists pervert justice, amongst others, is falsely accusing me of the archaic criminal act of blasphemous libel for blogging about such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers. This happened on Friday, June 1st of 2012. I received an email in my inbox from Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors defamation lawyer Maître Marc-André Coulombe, representing the Unitarian Universalist Association down in Boston. He was their Canadian attorney. And I got this as an email, PDF attachment to an email in my inbox, Friday, June 1st of 2012. The exact words regarding the accusation that I was violating Canada's blasphemy law are the following. Your unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape are defamatory. And then it went on to say that they were, so defamatory that they constitute blasphemous libel, and it cited the section of the Canadian Criminal Code that is in there. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. And I'm looking at this and going like, what's blasphemous libel? I mean, I know what blasphemous means, I know what libel means, but I'd never seen those two words in a phrase, blasphemous libel. So of course I Googled blasphemous libel, and quickly determined that it was essentially legal terminology for a crime of blaspheming against a religion, which I found quite amusing, to say nothing else. So I knew right away, first of all, that my blog posts about such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalists were by no means unfounded. So right off the bat, it was a false accusation. They weren't particularly vicious either. They pretty well just stuck to the facts. So I knew right away it was a false accusation. But I did more research into the blasphemy law and discovered a few things. And one of them was that even if I actually was making false accusations about pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers, this would not constitute the criminal act of blasphemous libel. Blasphemy, as I'm sure most people understand, originally it meant attacking and insulting God. But over the years it sort of got expanded to attacking and insulting a religion. And essentially it means, within the context of attacking and insulting a religion, it means essentially deeply insulting their religious beliefs and what they hold to be sacred and holy and so on. And I'm going, oh really? Does the Unitarian Universalist Church really hold such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape to be sacred and holy to Unitarian Universalism? That's the first I've heard about that. So it's just total insanity on the part of the UUA to bring this false accusation of blasphemous libel against me. So, and there were some other accusations. I was actually accused of sexual harassment for using the term sucks and blows at the same time to describe the two-faced hypocrisy of a Unitarian Universalist minister who had completely contradicted her words like 180 degrees, diametrically opposed in a very short time frame. That's what sucking and blowing at the same time means. It means inhaling and exhaling at the same time. It means doing two totally contradictory actions that are pretty well impossible to do at the same time. It's essentially saying just, ridiculous hypocrisy and so on. Ridiculous contradictory behavior is essentially what it comes down to. But they tried to construe this as sexual harassment of the minister in question. They also accused me of sexual harassment of Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein for criticizing a sodomy fantasy that she had posted to the internet. And the way they worded it, it was almost as if they were denying that she had done this. They were actually trying to pretend that she hadn't actually done this, along the lines of saying that my blog posts were unfounded, you know, when in fact they weren't. So basically a pack of lies sent to me by the Unitarian Universalist Association's Canadian attorney, one more time, Maitre Marc-André Coulombe of Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors. And this is just one of the ways that Unitarian Universalists pervert justice. More recently, in December of 2018, I went to the Montreal City Council meeting to ask a question. I believe it was to Sue Montgomery, who is or was a member of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, former justice reporter for the Gazette, who managed to get herself recruited by Valérie Plante as a mayoralty candidate for Côte-des-Neiges Notre-Dame-de-Grâce borough. And in spite of my warnings about her, I warned everyone at the June 2017 City Council meeting, when I became aware that Sue Montgomery had been recruited by, or was in the process of being recruited by Valérie Plante, that, you know, there were some serious problems with Sue Montgomery, that she had directly involved herself in attempts to shut down my protest here in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, including involving the SPVM police force, essentially misusing the SPVM police force and the Canadian Criminal Code to try and suppress my protest. And with some success, they managed to obtain a one-year restraining order on me in, I think, 2007 by basically claiming to fear for their safety, even though I'd never said or done anything that should cause them to fear for their safety. But, you know, they basically, the minister was sort of the front person, you know, female minister claiming to fear for her safety. Sue Montgomery and other Montreal Unitarians signed on to this with depositions, both male and female. I say it wasn't just women, but the front person was Reverend Diane Rollert. She was the one claiming to fear for her safety. Again, I'd never done anything that should have caused her to fear for her safety, but that was her spiel in order to get me under a restraining order that prevented me from protesting in front of the church for a year. And of course they thought it would be pretty well forever. They thought they'd be able to extend it, continue it, but that turned out not to be the case, and I resumed my protest soon after the restraining order was lifted. So anyway, coming back to the December 2017 City Council meeting, I was there to ask a question. I'd previously asked a question in the November City Council meeting, asking Sue Montgomery to do a self-assessment of her integrity on a scale of 0 to 12, based on the fact that she had in the past done these things and other things of an unethical nature as far as I was concerned. She essentially balked in answering that question. Francois Limoges got all uppity and basically tried to brush it off. I, in my follow-up question, said I wanted an answer from Sue Montgomery, at which point Valérie Plante stepped in, the mayor of Montreal, and accused me of harassment of Sue Montgomery, and again, of course, I didn't get an answer. Most ironically, sometime later, I believe in early 2020, so let's see, 2018 to 2019, 2020, yeah, less than 2 years later, I think, a year and so many months later, Valérie Plante went on public record accusing Sue Montgomery of, let's see now, fabricating stories, creating alternative facts, and playing the victim. So this was in the press, this was in the media, where you know, after having found out to her chagrin that Sue Montgomery wasn't exactly who or what she claimed to be, and had in fact been accused of harassment herself, harassment of city employees and so on, and basically refused to fire the city manager, as had been recommended, I think, by the city comptroller, if I remember correctly. Anyway, there's a huge fiasco all around that, but I don't want to get too far away from what happened. I went to the December 2017 City Council meeting for the purpose of asking a question. I think, if I remember correctly, my question was going to be addressed to Valerie Plante about Sue Montgomery, but I never got to ask that question because I was arrested before I could do so. I was in the City Council building, I was in the Grand Hall, which is outside of the council chambers, when a security guard just, politely came up to me and said, "Can I speak with you?" And I said, "Sure," and I started walking with him, and the next thing you know, I had a couple of Group Intervention SPVM police officers on each side of me, and they were very good. I will say they were very good. They were not aggressive in any way, but they, asked me to come with them, and we went downstairs, and I will say I have zero complaints about how the SPVM Group Intervention police officers treated me. They were very good about arresting me. They were polite, they were professional, they were even curious, like they were wondering, like, what's this all about, kind of thing, So I was arrested, and it turned out that I'd been arrested for alleged criminal harassment of Sue Montgomery. I was told by the arresting officer, M.M. Roy, who took me to the police central station kind of thing in Côte Vertu area, that I was being brought in for questioning. Turned out not exactly to be the case. In fact, when I got to the police station, shall we say, I was put in a cell for a couple of hours, which was not what I was expecting. So I cooled my heels in a cell.